because we want to make more money, more profits, which is fine, which is the thinking is right. But if you do not consider the impact on volume and value, then you are very wrongly placed. They may focus on maximizing profit margins without adequately considering consumer perceptions of value and market dynamics.
Welcome to What Beauty Founders Don't Know, a podcast formerly known as Jumpstart. Here, women-led, early-stage beauty brands learn counterintuitive insights to accelerate their profitability and revenue to $20 to $50 million and even $100 million without spending a fortune on ads, influencers, and reckless distribution. With your host, Rohit Banota, ex-P&G and founder of Toronto-based Jump Accelerator. Together, let's create a more conscious, humane, and beautiful planet. A woman's world. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell notifications, and leave a review.
Hey beauty founder, let's talk about the 8 pricing mistakes made by beauty founders, people like yourself. Pricing is a strategic decision that holds immense power to shape your growth and profitability. Instead of hasty decisions or relying on limited information, exploring the many factors is crucial to avoid the common pitfalls. And it will unlock the key to setting the perfect pricing that paves the way for your resounding success. Let's start with the first one: cost-based pricing versus value-based. Why is this a mistake? Setting prices based solely on production costs without considering the value perceived by customers or consumers can lead to underpricing or overpricing products. You'll never get it exactly right. Why do beauty founders make this pricing mistake? The reason they fall for this trap is simple ignorance and underestimating competition and importance of value for driving repeat purchase. If the consumer did not get the value that they hoped they would for paying the price that they did, then they're not going to buy again. How to avoid or correct this mistake? Conduct thorough market research to understand consumer perceptions of value. Develop a value-based pricing strategy that aligns prices with the perceived value to consumers. Perceived value, perceived quality upon price. This is a concept. Find out the top 3 drivers of quality for your target consumer for your product. Then measure how you rate on each of these quality drivers versus competition to arrive at your perceived value versus competition. So you will find out the quality, then you'll divide it by price, which will be equal to the value. So do this exercise versus competition, and then you can either adjust the pricing or you can adjust the quality to arrive at a winning price for your consumers. So you end up offering more value to the consumer versus your competition. Both functional and emotional factors can impact the perception of value. Example of a beauty brand: most of the beauty brands that move from early to growth stage, and when they enter the early mass market, have to adopt this approach as the consumer becomes more value conscious. So from early stage to late growth stage, you can still continue with the same pricing, but once you enter the mass market, and I would say that is more than 10, or you could still go to $20 million, but once you cross $20 million, and nowadays I would say that even $10 million, you need to very seriously think about your value versus the bigger place. One example would be Hero Cosmetics adapted its pricing strategy when it started distributing via mass channels. Elf Cosmetics credits its first quarter of 2023 whopping growth to value-based pricing. Lack of options for brand trials and loyalty is the second pricing mistake. Why is it a mistake? Not offering trial sizes or samples or the gateway product can hinder consumer acquisition. No matter how good you are, if the consumers do not try your brand, trials don't happen. They don't get to realize the value that you offer. You will never be able to acquire enough consumers. So you got to, especially if you're a prestige brand that offers highly premium pricing, let's say you're offering products above $60, $70. It's very important that you have at least a gateway product or you use minis and samples. Consumers may be hesitant to commit to full-size purchases without trying the products first. Loyalty programs can also incentivize repurchase and refer. You can establish a hassle-free return policy to alleviate concerns about trying new products. A specific way to leverage pricing to induce brand trials is with a gateway product, like I said, amongst all the hero products. This product has to be priced very competitively and gets the proverbial foot in the door. Why do beauty founders make this pricing mistake? Beauty brands are afraid of being perceived as cost effective brands, especially for the hero product, and they might not be willing to sacrifice their margins. As a founder, you need not implement all the above mentioned tips to induce brand trials, but experiment and see which has the highest returns. Also, if new consumer acquisition and brand trials are the least of your concerns along the full marketing funnel, then you need not worry too much about the same. How you can avoid or correct this mistake? Provide options for consumers to try products before committing to full size purchases. Implement a loyalty program to reward repeat purchases and referrals. Just like I said, start with your marketing funnel, and if the biggest leak is at the top of the funnel between repeat visits to your site and trials versus between other stages, then ensure that you roll out enough initiatives to make trials happen as a top priority. Also, for early stage beauty brands that enter specialty chain of beauty stores, department stores, and mass stores, this should be number one priority after getting attention to the shelf. Example of a beauty brand: Drunk Elephant and Smashbox Cosmetics have sold minis at their DT sites to induce trials for their prestige beauty brands, which does suffer from lack of trials because of price premiumness. Guest on What Beauty Founders Do Not Know podcast, co-founder of Wanda Beauty, Divya Gugnani, also stressed the importance of having a gateway product, which is also priced slightly economically for getting paid acquisition or any consumer acquisition instead of throwing a full-blown assortment at the consumers. But is sometimes founders use margin as a pseudo strategy to achieve overall business object. Why is this a mistake? Relying solely on margin can lead to setting prices that are either too high or too low. Brands may prioritize short-term gains over long-term profitability and sustainability. While the thinking is on the right track, you need to have an authentic and well thought out margin-based strategy. Why do beauty founders make this pricing mistake? Beauty brands may fall for using margins as strategy to achieve overall business objectives because we want to make more money, more profits, which is fine, which is the thinking is right. But if you do not consider the impact on volume and value, then you are very wrongly placed. They may focus on maximizing profit margins without adequately considering consumer perceptions of value and market dynamics. How to avoid or correct this mistake? Develop a comprehensive pricing strategy that takes into account factors such as costs, channels, competition, customer value, and market dynamics. Consider the long-term impact on profitability, market share, and brand perception, but also short-term impact. And what do I mean by market dynamics? I simply mean all the stakeholders, channels, retailers that you'll have to work with. If you're working with distributors and retailers, if you have brokers, if you have 3PL, etc. Example of a beauty brand: La Mer Cosmetics is a truly prestige beauty brand that leverages its innovative story to charge very high pricing, delivering very high margins, which it uses to invest back into exclusive partnerships with spa channels. It has a very solid rationale for charging such high pricing, which in the end deliver high margins to La Mer, but it is the story that helps them charge such high prestigious pricing. Fourth mistake beauty founders make is they discount too frequently, and I spoke about this in the 8 mistakes that beauty founders make as well. Why is discounting a mistake? Excessive discounting can devalue your products, negatively impact brand perception. Frequent discounts can also lead to consumer hesitating to make purchase at regular prices, because if she's getting 30%, 50% off every now and then, 3 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 1 plus 1, after a while she'll forget why she buys you in the first place. And they will only wait for discounts to be offered. This is called training consumers to buy at discounted prices. Discounts can also lead to forward buying, however debatable that is, but it will impact your profitability, creating a vicious spiral of lower profitability and posing a threat to business viability. Why do beauty founders make this pricing mistake? Beauty brands may frequently discount products to attract consumers and drive sales without considering the long-term consequences. They may believe that frequent discounts will create a sense of urgency and lead to increased volumes or sales. However, this can erode brand value and train consumers, like I said, to expect discounts. How you can avoid this mistake? You may implement a strategic discounting approach that aligns with your positioning and target consumer segments with limited time offers or exclusive promotions for consumer acquisition or retention, or for rewarding loyalty and advocacy. A better approach again is to follow a value-based pricing strategy. And if you are offering at least 30% higher value than competitors in the price range, you won't have to worry too much about matching competition discounts. To up a notch, you can emotionally transform your beauty brand. to increase the perceived value and emotional resonance even further. Example of a beauty brand, Lush offers only one yearly sale called the BOGO Buy One Get One sale. The day after Christmas, rest of the year, the brand sells the product at actual prices without any discounts. Fifth pricing mistake beauty founders make is lack of pricing strategy to move up. Why is it a mistake? Failing to implement a pricing strategy to move consumers up the premium product line can result in missed profitability opportunities. Just remember, it also depends upon what kind of brand you are. If you're a brand that champions democracy and accessibility, democratizing your category, and a brand that prides itself in creating accessible products, then you'll have to think slightly differently. Even then, whatever range you have picked, do not start going below the range, is what I mean. You can still slightly start moving upwards, not by leaps and bounds. By not leveraging pricing strategies like product bundling or tiered pricing, brands may fail to upsell. Why do beauty founders make this pricing mistake? Beauty brands may overlook the potential as they are worried about losing consumers or not believing they could charge more. This happens for two reasons: lack of understanding the segments of your consumers and lack of understanding of the problem you solve in great detail. If you can improve the solution, you can charge more to those interested. How you can avoid this mistake or correct? First, understand the problem you're solving for your consumer with a particular product. Understand the functional and emotional attributes of the problem and the role it plays in their life, and then create rituals with multiple products to improve the functional and emotional resonance desired by the consumer, the outcomes that they desire, and accordingly upsell and cross sell. Another strategy is to create an innovation factory with the intent of charging premium prices and increasing your margins, meaning you can create slightly innovative products for people who are willing to spend more. Your entire consumer segment, your loyal buyers, also are not homogeneous. You will find different price sensitivities amongst them. A lot of these mistakes are intertwined with each other. So you got to look at all of these 8 pricing mistakes in totality together. First, we can develop a pricing plan that encourages consumers to upgrade or purchase higher priced products, implement product bundling, tiered pricing, or limited edition offerings to incentivize consumers to explore higher value options. Example of a beauty brand: in the late 2010s, Revlon faced serious challenges in the market, including increased competition and changing consumer preferences. Amidst these challenges, Revlon struggled to up its pricing to match its competitors and maintain profitability. Revlon's failure to increase pricing could be attributed to various factors, from a lack of product differentiation with intense price competition in the industry at that time, and brands' reluctance to adjust its pricing strategy and increase the value perceived by consumers versus the other options in the market. As a result, Revlon experienced declining sales and profitability, leading to financial difficulties and a loss of market share. The woes did not end there. A few months back, Revlon did file for bankruptcy last year. Example of a beauty brand. One example of a beauty brand that has regularly increased its pricing: Chanel. Renowned for its luxury beauty and fragrance products, the brand has successfully maintained a prestigious positioning. How has Chanel managed to do so consistently? Firstly, it has cultivated a strong brand image associated with elegance, sophistication, and exclusivity, establishing itself as a symbol of luxury, commanding higher prices for its products. Secondly, Chanel has consistently delivered high quality products that are perceived as premium by consumers. The brand invests in R&D and innovation to create innovative formulations and unique packaging, further justifying the premium pricing. So you need to have justification for the pricing you are charging, and justification both for the value you're adding to the consumer, which will be relative to the competition, but also in terms of price sensitivity of the consumer and the absolute problem that you're solving for the consumer. Additionally, Chanel is very selective in its distribution channels, limiting its availability to select high-end retailers and its own boutiques. So, a case of limiting supply. The controlled distribution strategy helps maintain the brand's exclusivity and supports its ability to command higher prices. Last but not the least, Chanel has persuasively communicated the value and heritage association, emphasizing the craftsmanship, heritage, and timeless appeal for a strong emotional resonance. To summarize, Chanel's consistent success in increasing pricing can be attributed to its brand image, marketing campaigns, prestige quality, and selective distribution. Sixth mistake beauty founders make when it comes to pricing is scale up unfriendly. The pricing is not friendly with scale. Why is it a mistake? Not having pricing structures that are adaptable to scale can hinder the beauty brand's growth. Inflexible pricing models may become unsustainable as the brand expands, limiting profitability and hindering market penetration. Just remember, every brand is different. So, not all of these eight would be absolutely relevant to your beauty brand, but a few will be, and that too in combination. You need to factor the cost of consumer acquisition, channels, and geographic expansion exactly in this order. Cost of consumer acquisition: when scaling beyond DTC channels, the choice of distribution channels is critical for the beauty brand scalability. Different channels have varying costs associated with them, such as retailer margins, listing fees, shelf budget, visibility fees, marketing and promotions budget, chargebacks, etc. The cost of acquiring consumers includes expenses related to marketing campaigns, advertising efforts, and everything I just said, including shopper marketing, sales promotions. When developing a pricing strategy, it is essential to consider these costs and ensure that the pricing supports the consumer acquisition efforts. If the pricing is too high and does not align with the perceived value of the product, it can make consumer acquisition more challenging, and obviously it will be a challenge to scalability. On the other hand, if the pricing is too low and doesn't cover the acquisition costs, it may lead to unsustainable growth or financial difficulties. By carefully factoring in the cost of consumer acquisition, a beauty brand can set pricing that supports its growth objectives. Another factor here would be geographic expansion. When expanding into new geographic regions, beauty brands need to consider the local market dynamics and consumer behavior. Factors such as purchasing power, cultural preferences, and competitive landscape can vary from one region to another. The pricing strategy should be adaptable to accommodate these variations and ensure that the brand remains attractive and competitive in each new market. For instance, pricing that works very well in one market may not be suitable in another due to differences in affordability or local preferences. Obviously, you have to first think whether you want to be in such a market or not. Is this your target segment? But if you factor in the cost and pricing considerations associated with geographic expansion, you can navigate new markets and scale your operations globally. Why do beauty founders make this pricing mistake? You don't know what you don't know. If your brand strategy lacks the deliberation and clarity you need, it'll impact your scale strategy via brick and mortar retail. How you can avoid this mistake? Design a go-to retail strategy, evaluate alternative routes to scale and implications on price and profitable growth, design scalable pricing structure, meaning both the cost and value design to accommodate growth. Take into account economies of scale, production costs, and consumer demand when designing pricing strategy for a particular channel route. Example of a beauty brand: MAC Cosmetics. When it entered the Asian market, the brand realized the importance of pricing aligned with the local market's affordability and then strategically adapted to be competitive while maintaining their perceived value. This helped them gain a substantial market share. Even when MAC entered other regions such as Europe and the Middle East, the brand tailored its pricing strategy according to the regional differences in buying power and consumer preferences, along with considering factors like local taxes, import duties, and distribution costs. Seventh mistake, and an extremely critical mistake that beauty founders make. This would apply to a lot of prestige beauty brands, not as much to masstige brands, not as much to high value brands, not as much to brands that are purely price driven. Like, just looking at the price, the value is obvious. For brands that are prestige but do not communicate the value is a big blunder. Failing to effectively communicate the value proposition of products can lead to price perception issues. Consumers may be unwilling to pay higher prices if they don't understand the unique benefits or quality offered by the brand. Like I said, trials might not happen because they're too prestige. They don't know the value they're getting. You can do trials, but you cannot do trials with every consumer. So you have to communicate the value. You have to find a way to tell your story and communicate the value that your brand offers. Why do beauty founders make this pricing mistake? Beauty brands may assume that consumers understand the value of their products. They may overlook the importance of effectively conveying the brand's unique selling points, leading to price perception challenges and potential revenue loss, profitability loss. How you can avoid this mistake? Articulate the value and benefits of products through marketing campaigns, product description, and consumer education. Highlight whatever is unique to you, features, ingredients, benefits, or any other factors that differentiate you from competitors. If you're able to tell a great story and how you are different, so they are not able to compare you with any other solution in the market, then also your brand is communicating a value for which there is no competition. First, you have to tap into hyper jump opportunity using a resonant consumer insight and then create a resonant brand promise along with a story that elaborates on the core promise. The last step is to create a content campaign for storytelling. Ideally, your brand will communicate both functional and emotional value using creative storytelling or educational storytelling. The more emotionally transformed your beauty brand is, negating competition, the lesser you need to go overboard with functional value communication. A point I just made before this. Example of a beauty brand, one real life case is the brand Tatcha, known for its luxury skincare products inspired by traditional Japanese beauty rituals, a brand that was bought by Unilever. In the early stages of the brand's development, Tatcha faced challenges in effectively conveying the unique value and benefits of its products, which resulted in price perception issues among consumers. Tatcha products were priced at a premium, reflecting the brand's commitment to using high quality ingredients and using ancient beauty secrets. However, the brand struggled to communicate the specific value and differentiate its products compared to other luxury skincare brands in the market. Many consumers perceived Tatcha's products they were thought to be as overpriced without fully understanding the brand story, the craftsmanship, the meticulous research that went into formulating each product, the lack of clear communication regarding the brand's heritage, ingredients, and the unique experience it offered became an obstacle to justify the higher price points. To overcome this challenge, Tatcha adapted its marketing. The brand started focusing its storytelling on its Japanese heritage, the cultural significance of ingredients, and the authenticity of the product formulations. Tata started an education campaign around the craftsmanship behind its products and the meticulous attention to detail. It also leveraged storytelling to resonate deeper with consumers, sharing the brand's mission of modernizing timeless beauty rituals. The brand reinforced its commitment to philanthropy and sustainability, further enhancing the value with purpose. So through these efforts, Tatcha was able to successfully enhance its communication strategy, effectively conveying the unique value and benefits of its products to consumers. This helped to shift the price perception and position the brand as a luxury skincare line that offered not only exceptional products, but also a holistic beauty experience deeply rooted in Japanese tradition. Mistake number 8 when it comes to pricing, not calculating price sensitivities. This also is extremely critical. I would say in today's times, once you start crossing $5 million, you have to be on top of the price sensitivities for your target consumer. And why is it a mistake? Neglecting to assess price sensitivities can result in suboptimal pricing decisions. Either you will leave money on the table, or you would not acquire the consumers that you can for whom you can solve the problem. Understanding how consumers respond to price changes will help determine the optimal pricing levels to maximize revenue and profitability. Why do beauty founders make this pricing mistake? Because they don't consider how consumers perceive and respond to price changes. The fear of validation or reluctance to do so, or simple ignorance about the importance of validating price are the most common reasons. How you can avoid it? Conduct price sensitivity analysis, including methods like conjoint analysis, Van Westendorp price sensitivity meter, or A/B testing to gauge consumer response to different price points, and then use the insights gained to set prices that align with consumer preferences and maximize profitability. And how do beauty brands can use the price sensitivity analysis? A beauty brand can use the Van Westendorp price sensitivity meter to deduce the optimal price. Design a well-structured survey or questionnaire using the Van Westendorp price sensitivity meter. For example, create an online survey where respondents are asked to rate different price points for a specific beauty product, such as $20, $30, $40, and $50. And you can have price sensitivity questions, like include questions that explore consumers' price sensitivity, like asking respondents at what price they would consider the product to be a bargain, too expensive, starting to get expensive, or unaffordable. Specifically, the beauty brand can ask respondents, at what price do you think this beauty product becomes too expensive for its perceived value? Then you analyze this data, collect and analyze the survey responses to identify the price sensitivity meter's 4 key thresholds, the ones that we just discussed. For example, the analysis may reveal That point of marginal cheapness for the skincare products is at $20, below which they would think that the product is cheap and maybe not that good a quality. The point of marginal expensiveness, PME, is maybe at $50. The optimal price point is at $35, and the indifference price point is at $45. Based on the analysis, the beauty brand can determine that the optimal price for the skincare product is $35. This indicates that the maximum number of consumers find this price to be reasonably priced and offers a good balance between affordability and perceived value. This will come out of the survey. While the Van Westendorp price sensitivity meter provides critical insights, you must tailor the findings with the other learnings in this article before concluding your pricing. To summarize the 8 pricing mistakes, number 1 mistake, cost-based pricing versus value-based. Why is it a mistake? Setting prices based solely on production costs without considering the value perceived. Why do beauty brands fall for this trap? Because they're ignorant and they underestimate competition and the importance of value in driving repeat sales. How to avoid this mistake? Value-based pricing strategy. Number 2 mistake, lack of options for brand trials and loyalty. It will be a challenge to consumer acquisition. Beauty brands are afraid of being perceived as cost-effective brands and fear of not maximizing profits. This is why beauty founders commit this mistake. And how you can avoid it: provide options for consumers to buy products before committing to full-size products. Have a gateway product instead of throwing the complete assortment of expensive products. Have a gateway product that induces trials for the brand. Third pricing mistake, margin can be used as a pseudo strategy to achieve overall business objectives, thinking, oh, we have very high margin, now it's going to work for us. But it can lead to too high or too low pricing. Why do beauty founders fall for this trap? Because using margin as a strategy to achieve their overall business objectives, but without considering the impact on volume and value, is a blunder. You need to develop a comprehensive pricing strategy considering long-term impact on profit and sales. Fourth mistake is discounting too frequently. It can negatively impact brand perception, can devalue products, lead to forward buying, and creates a vicious cycle of declining profitability. Why do beauty founders make this mistake? Because they attract consumers and drive sales without considering the long-term consequences. And how you can avoid it: implement a strategic discounting approach that aligns with brand positioning and target consumer segments. Use a value-based pricing and emotional transformation of brand. Lack of pricing strategy to move up. By not leveraging pricing strategies like product bundling or tiered pricing, brands may fail to upsell and cross-sell to consumers. That is why it's a mistake. And why do beauty founders make it? Because they don't understand the segments of consumers that well, and lack of understanding of the problem that they solve in absolute detail. How you can avoid it: deep dive into problem, create an innovation factory, develop a pricing plan that encourages consumers to upgrade or purchase higher priced products. Then you have scale up unfriendly pricing, which pricing mistake. It will impact consumer acquisition and it will impact geographic expansion. Beauty founders fall for this trap because they don't deliberate on the path to scale. How you can avoid it is you create a go-to retail strategy. How will you approach retail? Sequentially and also strategically. Evaluate alternative routes to scale and implications of the same on price and profitable growth. Seventh mistake, pricing mistake: very rarely they communicate the value, and then they end up creating price perception issues and it impacts consumer acquisition. Assuming and underestimating the importance of clarifying the value is the reason founders fall for this mistake. How you can avoid it: over communicate brand and product benefits, focus on education and emotional transformation of the brand. The last pricing mistake, not calculating price sensitivities, suboptimally pricing decisions leading to suboptimal profits. Both we are leaving money on the table and by not acquiring all the consumers who would have paid for and you can solve the problem for. The founders fall for this mistake because they have fear or reluctance for validation, ignorance about importance. And how you can avoid this mistake: you can do a price sensitivity analysis using Van Westendorp price sensitivity meter, which has 4 questions. Great. I covered 8 pricing mistakes that beauty founders often make and which can impact seriously the scale up ambitions, the growth, and especially the profitable growth of your venture. And this is very relevant not only for resource constraint, but even for funded brands in today's times. To read more about these 8 pricing mistakes, you could go to my website jumpaccelerator.com and then go and click on Insights, Jump the Gun, and you'll find an article by the same name as well.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to this What Beauty Founders Don't Know podcast for amazing guests and insights on growing your beauty brand. Visit jumpaccelerator.com and take the quiz to find out how ready you are to make the jump to $20 to $50 million plus dollars. And above all, don't miss out on your free online course taken by hundreds of successful beauty founders. Sign up for your free online course now. Till the next episode.